the government's Department of Communications and Media was the main department that's been spearheading a lot of the government's misinformation and disinformation regulations. And so, just purely for my own amusement, I decided to ask them what kind of studies or analysis have your department done on the potential free speech ramifications of trying to regulate misinformation and disinformation? Because you're literally regulating the truth itself, as I said to media minister Catherine Martin back when she held that position. And they came back, and to be honest, Jason, I was amazed and delighted with this because, as you know from dealing with government departments, their job is to try and put a good spin on everything, is to do PR. And so often when you ask them a question, they'll either not reply, or if they do reply, they will ignore what you said and come back with some kind of non sequitur answer. So you'll say something like, what is the government's method for dealing with illegal immigrants? And they'll come back with some kind of response like, well, you know, it's really important to deal with illegal immigration, and this is why we take it seriously, and blah, blah, blah. And at no point do they actually answer your question, and then you have to come up with a follow. So that's kind of what I'm used to with these guys. I asked the Department of Communications, what analysis have you done to protect free speech from misinformation laws? And they, on the first try, they just came back to me and said, we haven't done any analysis of that. There's nothing. So that's it. So, I mean, they're open, if nothing else. They didn't obfuscate in any way, so fair play to them. So
I mean, it's kind of like asking the Oracle, what qualifications do you have for, delivering divine truths? And they're kind of just saying, I'm the Oracle, what do you expect? It's got asking this government department, what allows you to sort of delve in this uninformed manner into this very contentious thing. And it's like, who else is going to do it?
Hello, I'm in Delphi. Like, what are you doing? But so then I asked Taoiseach Micheál Martin, did he think that was appropriate? Is that not very irresponsible to be regulating speech and not even to do an analysis on how it might go wrong, hypothetically? And he didn't answer the question at all. He didn't really get into it. He actually, bizarrely, he said, he was talking about how there was misinformation online about the Carlo shooting. And he was saying, and I noticed, Ben, you didn't bring up that, or you're not interested in talking about that aspect of it. And I thought, are you interviewing me now? Are you, am I supposed to, like, I'm asking you about your government's policy. I would have thought that was the relevant point here. But anyway, he said free speech does not apply to lies and untruths, and we went on a big tirade about this, and the sheer gall, the chutzpah, the cojones of this government, having just come out of the family and care referendums last year, where we were told numerous verifiable falsehoods. The aforementioned Catherine Martin was fact-checked by her own media commission, the Electoral Commission. They said that her claims about the Constitution were factually incorrect. A Supreme Court judge, Marie Baker, came out and said, Catherine Martin is wrong. She doesn't understand the Constitution. This is the mistake she made. I then asked Catherine Martin about this.
Micheál Martin, you mean?
No, Catherine Martin. I asked her about it. She doubled down and said, I don't take it back. I was right. That's my interpretation of the Constitution. You can kiss my ass. She totally, absolutely refused to concede an inch. And then when I asked Micheál Martin about that, he said, look, people had a totally over-the-top reaction to that. Whichever relax, that's her interpretation of the Constitution. Whichever leave her to it. So when right before a constitutional referendum, government ministers mislead the general public about the meaning of the referendum and what is actually in the Constitution, that's no big deal. Would you ever just mellow out, man? Just relax. Stop freaking out about such insignificant minutiae.
We all make mistakes.
But then some granny, some 90-year-old granny in Roscommon had an inaccurate post on Telegram, which nobody saw, And that apparently is cause for calling in the Garda Armed Response Unit. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, it's uh, this pattern has been apparent for a long time that like when government is responsible for a case of misinformation or yeah, reluctant to say because again I like to be charitable with people disinformation out and out misleading. Um, it's all we all get things wrong. Mistakes are made. We'll learn for next time. When the public is engaging in misinformation, it's a threat to democracy. Like that, they can't see how dangerous this dynamic is and how unsuitable it makes them for determining what is mis and disinformation is astonishing to me. I mean, as I say, I don't think this is a conversation we can be having. I don't think anyone is suitable for regulating mis and disinformation. Certainly not the government and the people in it and in the various state agencies that might be responsible for such a thing. I think a much more valid conversation, if you wanted to discuss the rapid spread of information, is whether or not, say, tech innovations like social media ought to be banned. Like, now I'm not advocating for that there, but I'm saying that I can at least see why a society might decide that it wants to have that conversation, because that, is a matter of prudence. You could reasonably arrive. That's something that a society or a government could decide to do. It seems validly to me. We previously we didn't have social media. We have it now. It could be the case that we won't have it again in the future. When it comes to like regulating truth, yeah, that's not the government's role. So the fact that they're holding on to this one like a dog with a bone, I'm never going to see this push as anything but sinister and totalitarian.